This week's throwback, Alien. Came out June 22nd, 1979. So I gotta say, I think I was in high school when I first saw Alien, and I just remember the most impactful thing in this movie was the alien, just how scary it was and how it's dominating the ship and, you know, plucking everybody off kind of one by one. And then I watched it now, a lot older and whatnot, with the new one coming out, and I have mixed feelings about it. So first, right off the bat, certain things about the movie I felt aged very well. Like, certain sci-fi things, it doesn't matter what year they came out or decade for that matter, because it's sci-fi, you can get away with that. Till you get some of the text on the computer, it's like, okay, that's kind of old. But the ships looked legit, the planet looked legit, the alien, the xenomorph, still looks legit, and that was costume too. They didn't really have the whole CG thing, so literally everything that thing was doing on set, that's a person in a costume. Looked primo. That's one thing I love about older movies. They go that extra mile for the believability.
So I haven't seen this movie in a long time. As a matter of fact, this movie came out the year I was born. So that makes this movie really old. Almost 40 years old at this point, actually. And I was interested in going back to see how it aged. And let me tell you, there are some aspects that did not age gracefully. But the entire time you're watching this movie, you can see why this was a classic. You can see why this was a genre-defining movie. You can see why they still use these concepts in movies today. Because, especially at that time, nothing had done anything like this. The problem with that is a lot of the scenes rely on the awe and shock, the shock and awe factor of what you're seeing. So a good example would be the ship landing on the planet. That takes way longer than it should. I'm sure the audiences in '79 were completely just amazed by it and wanted to see more of it and just couldn't look away. But I was like checking my phone because it takes them literally forever to land on the planet. It's a long scene. And I think that a lot of the movie falls into that same trap. While I can say that it's an issue now, it definitely wouldn't have been an issue then.
And it's not slow like in a bad way or necessarily a good way. It's just, it's slow. It's 1979. I wasn't alive during that time, so I really don't know the idea of how movies were supposed to be presented to people, but it's laying down a lot of work. And the one thing now, being an adult than I was as a younger person, I realized the whole mystery of this movie is you're out in space, you're mining stuff, and you're taking it back to Earth. Along the way, you get a distress signal or whatnot, you go explore it, and there is a weird half-crescent moon-down ship. Questions. Let's head to it. Okay, smartly. And you get in there, and you're noticing things, and you're studying, you're being smart about it to this point, and then the guy kind of stumbles and falls, hits the egg, and then it face hugs. Now we've got a problem. I do like, though, how they get it back to the ship, and they're actually trying to get the face hugger off. They try a couple different things and realize, you know, when they cut its little finger, like the blood comes out and it's acidy, and they're like, oh shit, like this thing is melting through like 3 levels of the ship.
The atmosphere, the tension in the movie, it would have been palpable at that time when this movie released, and you know, for a while after it too. It would have been something new, it would have been something scary, and it would have been something very intense. The problem is, watching it now, I already know what's going to happen, and I'm used to the new movies, which are fast-paced, that usually spoon-feed their audience, which I don't think is necessary, and are point, one after another one, where this one's like, I mean, you don't even see the alien until like an hour into the movie, as said earlier. It's a very slow burn.
I liked how there was some smartness to it. It wasn't just kind of some movies we get today where it's like, oh hey, crazy kill it, split up guys, you over there and you over there, and then let's hope for the best. And then once the alien busts out, that it took 56 minutes, mind you, for like the most horrific thing I think you'll ever see ever that's non-supernatural, of a guy eating lunch with his crew and then he starts freaking out and they think he's having a seizure of some kind, and then and it takes off. Of course, the stupidest part of that entire scene right there is, why didn't anybody grab it and kill that thing? Like grab it and step on it or something, or hit it with the fork. They just kind of like, oh, and it's looking around too. It's like, and then it takes off. Oh, now you're f***ed. Then you find out that there is this big agenda. That's when everything comes into light. And then that's when I feel the doors open up more to this whole idea of this movie, this new franchise type thing. The android on the ship apparently knew the entire time, not necessarily about the alien, but of something else, and he had a secondary objective. So then when that comes into light, okay, so what is worse, this alien creature monster or the company in this fucking robot?
One of the things I like about this movie, especially directly related to the new movie, is that they seem to be smart characters. The decisions they make have reasoning behind them. They make plans that make sense. They call for quarantine. I won't open the door because we have to quarantine. This is what we're supposed to do. And then when something like that breaks, or someone acts out of the ordinary or something you would think to be unnatural, it's explained later in the movie why that is. The android is actually trying to get the specimen, and the people don't actually matter. So you find that the android opens the door to let him in because that was the point. The specimen that they were letting in was more important than the people on the crew. The android doesn't let him kill it when it pops out of the crewmate because the android wants the specimen. So all these moments where you're like, that was stupid, why did they do that? It actually explains it later on. And the banter between the crew also sounds very natural. There's actually a point when Ripley, Sigourney Weaver's character, is giving her plan where someone's interrupting her in the background. I almost wonder if that was ad-lib. It seems so natural. It seems so real that it just felt like I was sitting in a place where these people were actually reacting to the situation in hand.
It's hailed as a classic, and I can see why. It still lives up. The look still looks way legit. I mean, unless someone really told... one giveaway of 79 is they're in space and they're smoking on a spacecraft. I don't think that's recommended in space. Fire and vacuums don't... Yeah. So that kind of cracked me up a little bit. It's like, oh, well, this is a total old movie. Everybody's smoking. You had a couple obnoxious characters that only cared about the glory or the money. And then you had your smart characters that actually are going to follow the rules and, hey, here's what we have to do. So for being something that's an introduction to an amazing thing, that's good. It holds up very well. It's slow. Like I said, it's very slow. It's got to cover a lot of ground. It's got to throw those questions out there. And then that's when the interest reels you in. And I don't know if that's a Ridley Scott thing or just a 1979 thing.
So when you take out the fact that the movie kind of dragged and you look at what the movie gives you, it's pure genius. It really is. The characters are well done. The alien, even with their limited technology, is fantastic. I mean, I understand that's a dude in like a puppet outfit or like a costume, but wow, he looks totally badass. Even in close-up scenes at the end, I mean, wow, you can't even tell. That guy just looks scary as Well, I just feel that what this movie does right, it does really right. And the things that I feel it does wrong, like the pacing, I don't think it mattered when the movie came out. I think that's why this was such a classic, and why everybody really pulls from it. They see that this is how sci-fi should be done. It should be all about atmosphere, unexpected situations. It should be about good characters, and it should be about a proper villain, a proper horror, a proper creature. Something that you, as the audience, and of course the people in the movie, are scared of for a good freaking reason. I mean, this is the ultimate killing machine. And when you put all that together, you get what I consider to be probably a perfect classic movie.
So if I was to give this movie a rating, I would give it a 7 out of 10. It looks good. It definitely has a point when the alien pops out of the chest. So that's definitely one of the most you're like, holy crap. But it's just kind of the slowness of it and just the slowness of it.
So I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. I really dug this movie. The pace of it really killed me. I was checking my phone during it and things like that because I knew what was going to happen, which is not like me at all. But I absolutely recognize that it's just because the way we watch movies have changed. And what I expect from the speed of a movie is different. And because I knew the outcome, the tension really wasn't there. But if this is the first time I watched this movie, I guarantee I would have been glued to it. It is a staple of cinema. And I believe that both sci-fi and horror learned so much from this and would not be the same without it.
So what do you guys think of Alien? Why not shoot that down below? Give us suggestions. Are there throwbacks to do and whatnot? Yes, we do have some planned along the way, but we are open for suggestions. Go ahead and like this video and favorite it. Hit that subscribe button. When you do that, you get more throwback reviews like this, plus movie reviews, unboxing videos, other shenanigans we do on the daily and weekly. And remember, guys, you heard it here at The Source.